So hi, it's been a minute, or at least it's been a minute to me. It won't have been a minute for you. Um, when last I checked in, it was mid-April, and we had just sold our house, and we were going to move, and I was jogging around a storage unit place, waiting on my neighbors. So it is now August the 26th. I have moved. I did end up moving in with my mom for a little bit. It ended up being about 2 months. It was as much of a trial as I was expecting it to be perfectly honest. But I made it. We moved into, well, my husband, since he was up here beginning in April, toured houses while I was still at my mom's house, and we ended up putting in an offer on this house, and we bought this house in June. I'm currently in the basement. This is that's my turtle. I actually don't know if I've ever featured my turtle. I'm usually only featuring, well, there's one of them, the dogs. This basement is a crazy, 1970s horror show, and I love it. We closed in June, and the week before we closed, I got the notification from the Canadian Embassy that they had my passport. I was talking about how my permanent residency paperwork was held up. I also had a work permit that was being held up, and the work permit had my passport. So I canceled my work permit because throughout all the coronavirus thing, my office realized that I can work remotely and it's fine, so I'm keeping my American job. So I got my passport back. They opened the Canadian-American border to immediate family on a Monday. And on a Tuesday morning, I got the call from the Canadian Embassy that said, hey, you can get your passport back. And I was like, yes, mail it to me right now. I received my passport on Thursday evening. Friday, I took the day off work and drove to Canada. From almost Florida. I grew up about an hour and a half to 2 hours from the Florida border. It's very close. It ended up being, I drove over 2 days up to Canada, and I had to quarantine for 2 weeks at my sister-in-law's house because she had a basement that had separate access from the rest of her house. I wasn't allowed to, I could see people outside from a distance, but I couldn't touch anyone or anything for 2 weeks after I moved here. And my quarantine was up the weekend after we closed, and most of our stuff had gotten moved into this house. So I didn't have to deal with the movers again since we had been up here. So yeah, we settled in. We're still unpacking. I do realize I just said that it is nearly September and we moved in June and we're still unpacking. We are still unpacking. We have a lot of stuff. But we finally unpacked the scale, which is great. I am currently at 193 pounds, which is lower than I have been in a good long while. I have been at 195 or below that for about 2 weeks, and I was around 195, 196 around the time we moved. So that entire 3 or 4 months, I didn't gain any weight at all, and I'm honestly kind of surprised by that because I was in the middle of moving. I didn't have a house. I couldn't cook. I was eating like shit, but it worked out, and it is continuing to work out. I'm not eating out as much now that I've gotten into Canada because this is going to sound so fucking stupid. I don't know how to convert kilometers to miles per hour, and my car, you know how usually cars have a speedometer in both? Mine doesn't. Mine only has miles, and Google Maps will give me distances in miles, but it won't give me speed in miles, and I can't be doing math and shit like that in my head. It just doesn't work very well. So I haven't been driving a lot. I haven't been going out to eat, which ultimately is a good thing. I've been cooking a lot of Indian food, like soups and stuff. It's also been like crazy hot because I moved up here and we got settled into the house essentially in July. And July is the hottest month up here, and it was really hot, and this house does not have very good air conditioning, and I wanted to eat nothing but popsicles and cherries that entire month, which isn't super healthy, but also not hideously high calorie. So yeah, now it's August, and I swear to God, it was like 69 degrees today, which is crazy because where I'm from, it is currently still in the high 90s because August is the hottest month in Georgia as opposed to July. So I've been getting out and walking more. There's a lot of things within walking distance of here. There's a post office, which I walked to today, and which is inside of a pharmacy, kind of weird. There is a grocery store that's within walking distance. There's also a fair number of places to eat. There's a really nice park on a river, and the transit's also within walking distance of here, but I am terrified to get on transit right now because the Rona. But yeah, I'm health-wise, I'm doing pretty good. Obviously, I'm down from my top weight, which was 207, I'm 193. I don't know, math that. It's like 15 pounds? 94, 95. It's 205. That's 10. Yeah, 14 pounds. I was close. I hope that trend continues. I really wanted to be at least my mid goal weight, which is 180 by now, but you know, considering how everything has fucking exploded, I'm okay. I'm okay with having just maintained and not necessarily lost, because it is better than a lot of people are doing. A lot of people are talking about the Corona 15, and at least that didn't happen. Here, let me show you something not weight related. My dog is obsessed with the turtle. Oh no, he scared himself. Yeah, so I will have more updates later. I'm going to probably change the format of this a little bit. I mean, mostly because, who wants to look at my feet all the time? My bathroom also, the scale now sits right under a window, and my scale is very reflective, and I weigh how you were supposed to weigh, and there's no way to really hide that one. I'm not okay. Well, also YouTube would not be okay with me uploading that. So yeah, I don't know how this is gonna work going forward. And in that way, I'm not very different from where I was in April. I'm assuming it's gonna be like more vloggy stuff with updates on how I'm doing. We'll see. Thanks for hanging around. And I do have a couple of subscribers now, so hey guys, I'm not dead. I'll see you guys again soon. So it's the end of my first week of continuing my documentation of my body in Canada. I have gotten down to 192, which is exciting. I'm getting closer and closer to being in the 180s. To be perfectly honest, I kind of ate like shit this weekend. I made a bunch of cinnamon rolls, and I should have halved it. So yesterday I literally ate nothing but cinnamon rolls and bubble tea. I'm kind of a mess. But I also did get out. This one, Gordon. You can see he has a cloudy eye. He has an eye injury. He got it last fall. And he's not completely blind out of that eye, but he's pretty close to being blind out of that eye. So we got him some doggy goggles. They are literally called doggles, and that makes me hurt deep inside. So we're training him to be okay with them, which means I am taking him for a lot of short walks. I also did a fair amount of yard work yesterday. We had probably about 50 dandelions in our backyard, and our backyard's real small. So I dug up all of those and hacked down some like kudzu-esque vine that's coming over the fence into our backyard. Our backyard faces onto a park, which is really nice, but also means we have to deal with that vine coming through. Yeah, so end of the week, I'm feeling pretty good about where I am right now. Hopefully that continues. I don't have like super big plans for night. Well, actually, we're going camping next weekend. Next weekend is Labor Day weekend. It is our 10th wedding anniversary. We were going to do a vow renewal in Disney World, but that's obviously not going to happen due to what is currently happening in the world right now. So we're gonna go camping, and we've pushed our vow renewal back to next year. So we'll be celebrating our 10th anniversary for our 11th anniversary. We do a vow renewal every 5 years. It's kind of a long story, but the brief version of the story is some of my husband's family had a bit of a falling out, and during that falling out, one of his uncles referred to our actual wedding as a sham marriage because we actually had gotten married on paper before we got married at our wedding, because my father-in-law is a judge and he's the one who married us. So we had to get married in his jurisdiction, but that's not where we got married with our ceremony. So we had to get married before we got married. And this uncle found out about it and was very angry and called it a sham wedding. And we were already thinking about doing a couple of vow renewals because the wedding was so fun. And so we decided that we were just going to have a series of sham weddings every 5 years. Our paper marriage, where my father-in-law legally married us, was in a backyard under a tree. Our second marriage, our wedding, was in an art gallery. Our first vow renewal was in Vegas, and this was going to be our second vow renewal in Disney World. I'm a little bummed about that, but it is what it is. So we'll go camping, which means that I'll be doing more physical stuff. I mean, I would have been doing physical stuff in Disney anyway, because Disney is not a restful vacation. Let's see. Well, that's kind of where I am right now. We'll see what the week holds, if I end up gaining a bunch of weight because I'm going to gorge myself on s'mores next weekend. Who knows? So right now I'm just showing you my weight loss since the beginning of quarantine, which is conveniently about 6 months. I started out at 204. And I mean, you've seen all these weigh-ins because they are what was happening before I moved. And then there's this long stretch of me moving. And back to July 26th when I started weighing myself again, I have been consistently under 200 since then. I topped out at 197. And currently, as of today, I've been under 193 for 5 days. And I'm 192.3 right now.